Hey, this is Drew from Patchwerks, and I am happy to introduce the new 1010 Music nanobox series. Here on the left, we have the Fireball, which is a wavetable synth, and then we have the Lemondrop, which is a granular synthesizer. If anyone knows 1010 Music, they've been doing some great touchscreen USB-powered devices for a while now, and this is definitely, I think, a great addition to that line. So yeah, let's get into it. So as you can see, the build quality is pretty similar, except for the colors. They share all the same buttons on the same screen, as well as the same ports in the back, and I'll tilt it up here. We have MIDI in and out with the 3.5 millimeter. We have clock in, and we have line in and out. So if you're using like a MIDI controller, these ports take type A and type B, so you don't have to like do the infinite game of trying to guess which one's which because they're never labeled. Oh yeah, as well as a micro SD card on the back, which we'll get into a little bit later. So right now we have the Lemondrop hooked up, and I'm just going to go over some of the basic functionality. We have the home button, we have the sandwich button, aka the layer button, we have left and right, and then the two knobs which control both of the two filters on the device. So one of the things I like the most about these devices is that it is so easy to just get around them. I think it would be really easy to have something like this be very complicated, but I think the way that 1010 set it up has made it super easy. So all the buttons follow the same rules in all of the menus, which is super easy because, you know, on some devices, it's like you go to change one thing and the same button that does one thing ends up doing a completely different thing, and then you kind of feel like, well, this makes no sense to me. So for example, if I was going to go into the filters, which there are two, you'll see the sandwich button here. There's these little dots up on the screen right there. That means you can press the layer button to switch between parameters, and that is true for any of the menus you go into. A good way to start this would just be to go through this home screen. We have, let's see, the two samples that we'll be scrubbing through to create the granular, pad or sound. We have the two filters here, 1 and 2. We have envelope 1, envelope 2, and then here we have the two LFOs, the sequencer, and then we have the effects, which effects 1 has it has 3 effects between flanger, distortion, chorus, and phaser. And then if you press the sandwich button, we'll go over to the reverb, or if you want a delay. So yeah, that's the entire home screen. It's super simple. You kind of just see everything in front of you. This little cheese wheel up here is the BPM. It's like a clock. So yeah, let's get some sound going. Let's get some awesome sound here. Oh yeah. So as you see, if you press the sandwich button on the main screen, it cycles between basically like notes that you can play with your hand. And I have hold there, so it holds it. There's also an X and Y, which you can assign to pretty much any of the parameters. Just you can hear the filter going right there. Yeah, so if you're familiar with granular synthesis, you can see all the grains playing back right here. Let's see here. The basic filter stuff, you got cutoff resonance, you got type of filter, little band pass, so there we go. Notch. And then these can either be run in parallel or in series. So now, if I go back to filter 1, this should control the full thing. Yeah, super rad. You'll notice, let's see, going back into the filter here, that some of these parameters have these 3 little squares. Those are LFO slots. So, as I mentioned before, everything follows the same rules. So anytime you are going over a parameter, you can press the right button, and you can see here, filter 1, 3 different sources between the envelopes, the LFOs, sequencer, and then if you have a MIDI controller hooked up, you get velocity, pressure sensitivity, mod wheel, XY, or some CC commands. All right, let's take a look at the actual samples. All right, so in here we have typical sample editing stuff. We have pitch, level, beat sync to sync with either the internal or external BPM, and then all the granular controls you love: density, grain size, window jitter. We've got random panning, and then if you want to scrub through, we have fixed or moving. So I'll demonstrate that here. Let's get some sound going. We're gonna go right there. Yeah. Get that density down. Get that window down. Actually, you know what? No. Let's go density up. There we go. So now it allows you to scrub through the sample. Then you see the 3 little squares here. You can assign any of those to LFOs. Very useful, or you can just have it moving on its own accord. Yeah, super cool. So up here we have the presets that come with the device. You can see there's a lot of them. And of course you can import your own with the SD card or, edit and change the ones that are already on here. Let's go to this one. Let's show the envelope menu really quickly. All the tasty envelope stuff you love. Play with some of the effects here. I actually think this distortion is pretty rad. It gets kind of like that Proco Rat, kind of like gnarled out rodent distortion, which is cool. It's super gnarly. Cool, and now we can talk about the sequencer. So to do this, let me actually turn down some of this stuff here. Get that level down. Get that level down. So yeah, there's also a third, I guess, track or channel to use, which is just a simple oscillator. So you have between a sine wave, noise wave, triangle, saw, and a square, which you can change the PWM on. The pulse width there. So I'll use this to demonstrate the sequencer. So you can hear it's already kind of going a little bit. Anyone familiar with sequencers, this looks pretty familiar. See, let's hold the pattern here. So you basically can put inputs into here using either your finger to erase or draw, or I like to use the second knob here. Change the step length. What's the max step length actually? 32? Yeah, 32. So if quantize is off, the values, you can make it a little bit more sort of modular in that you can kind of get some in-between voltages, but quantize kind of steps it out nicely if you're going to use a sequencer for melodic, like, affecting the pitch. But of course, you can assign the sequencer to a bunch of different things. It doesn't have to be the pitch. It can be, filter, or it can be the granular parameters, or pretty much anything else you can think of on here. When we go over to the fireball, that becomes especially useful if you're changing positions of the wavetable. You can use a sequencer to kind of get these really cool movement effects. All right, we're going to move on to the fireball now. Got my MIDI controller set up here. So one thing I did talk about in the Lemondrop is that these two knobs represent like this X and Y right here. So this is X and this is Y. So you can hear the filter on this one. And then the Y corresponds to the wavetable position. So you can see the wavetable's already moving, got an envelope and an LFO on these. It's kind of scrubbing through the different positions of the wavetable. Yeah, super cool. And one thing that these two also share is, if I go in here, you can choose the wave or the file you want to play. So this one, there's already a bunch of wavetables on here, or you can load up your own. And you can mix and match to create a new patch, or you can edit the parameters of the ones that you already have messed with. Both of these devices on the back also have audio line in, but I'm going to leave that to y'all to check out. All right, I'm Drew from Patchwerks. That's all I got today. Thanks for watching.